folks, you back? Well, you wanted to see more? You missed me? Well, I'm here. Here we go. We got the motor hanging on the hook here. We're going to take this big beauty beast of a motor. We're going to drop it down in that ugly looking drag car. And we're going to start bolting it up. Push rods haven't shown up yet, unfortunately. But I'm sick of waiting around, and I'm wiring the car, and well, I want the motor in the car. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know where the camera cut off or none of that stuff, but the motor is off the hook, the motor is in the car, and I'm only doing this. I don't have the push rods or nothing yet. I don't have the lifters in there. But I'm doing this so I can wire the car up, but I don't know when the push rods are going to be here. They were supposed to have been here last week. Figured they'd be here this week. They're not. I don't know. I guess they had to get their steel from who knows where and whatever. I don't know. Anyways, so we're going ahead. Got the motor in it. We're going to start with the wiring and stuff. But we're going to put the trans in it first. And this car being a slip joint car, after I put the motor in it with the jack stands being where they are, the frame really wanted to start separating. So I put a jack in the back. We'll get the trans in here, and then we'll move the jack stands back to keep it so that it doesn't, you know, tweak the frame or nothing. You know, I figure this car sits on the front tires and the rear tires all the time, so if we get the jack stands in the back of the car, it'll be fine. But we're out here all by ourselves. We're going to try to get this trans in and go from there. Dislike when you buy used cars. Now this car didn't come with a motor, but it came with this trans and stuff, and it came with a few other odds and ends. But one of the things I dislike is mismatched bolts. So they had a grade 5 bolt back here. There's these little diagonal braces. I'll bring you over here in a minute and show you, don't worry. But there's these little diagonal braces on the back of the trans, and he had a stainless steel bolt on one side and a grate bolt on the other side. I'm not a huge fan of having mismatched stuff. I like everything to look like it was put together by someone who kind of cares or is semi-professional. So we went ahead, got rid of the stainless, got rid of the grade 5, and we put some grade 8 bolts in there. If I could have found, at that time when I bought them bolts, if I could have found Allen headed bolts, I probably would have used those, but these will be fine. The bolts that are in the back on the frame, I'm not going to change those because, well, they've been in there a long time and they look the same as what was there, so we're going to leave them. But anyhow, the motor's in, bolted up, trans is in, bolted up, drive shaft, or you know, I guess you could call it a drive shaft. It's all slipped in. I'm trying to think of what you call that. Well, anyways, it's a big shaft that's got some splines on it, and then it's got these little retainer locks. Now this one here was cracked and all messed up, and I couldn't find a replacement for it. And I kind of like this one because it's got spline in it and it bites down good. The other one doesn't. I'll show you that one too. So I went ahead, I TIG welded this one all up, ground it all down, and went and retapped the threads in it because they were kind of boogered. But anyhow, I'm going to get this installed, I'll get the other one installed, and then I'll bring you over here to take a look. This is the other one. It's a big piece of aluminum here. It doesn't have no splines inside of it to bite the spline. This one does. This one's much smaller. This is the one I fixed. We're going to install it, and then we'll let you come take a look here. You know, a lot of this stuff, the attention to detail, kind of doesn't really matter in a way, but in another way it does. You want to stand out in the crowd a little bit, you know. That's what I like. I like standing out in the crowd, being a little different. Make everything look like it's kind of meant to be. That way when people come over and take a look at your hot rod, it looks nice and well built, put together properly. You know. So that's kind of the idea behind all this. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of lubricant on these bolts. A little bit of never seize, never hurt nobody. I like to never seize up everything I can. That way when you go to take stuff apart in the future, it being a race car, you know you're going to take it apart. It all just kind of falls apart a little easier, and makes for the disassembly and reassembly process to be a little faster. That way you're not fiddling around trying to get out a corroded bolt or ripping the threads out of something because the bolt's corroded and doesn't want to come out. Now you guys out there that own dragsters that know what I'm doing here, if you guys wanted to chime in and let me know if you should have a little bit of a gap, like a 32nd to a 16th gap in between these retaining sleeves and this little drive shaft, let me know in the comments. I feel like you should have a little bit of play there because the chassis is going to flex. You know, when the motor takes off, the car is going to want to buckle apart. You know, the motor twist and it's going to want to come apart a little bit. So I feel like you're going to want a little bit of play in there for when the rear end drives the tires into the ground. You know, like a drive shaft in a regular car. They slip in and out of the back of the transmission for when they leave, and even just driving down the road on a regular car, they slip back and forth a little bit. So I'm just kind of curious on what your guys' take is. And if you set yours up so it can slip a little bit, or if you make it solid. You know, like I said, I feel like it needs to move a little bit. It'll help from it driving a output shaft into the back of the trans too hard and causing damage. You know, I really don't know though. This is my first experience with these, but I have a lot of years wrenching on regular cars. So you guys want to come over here, take a look? I know you do. So I'll bring you over here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is a little yoke that I'm talking about. I left a little play in it here. You know, maybe a 16th gap or so down there. Maybe a little less. 20, 30 thou. So all the other dragster owners that have a little slip yoke like that, let me know. You know, is there a feeler gauge measurement or something I should put in there? Is it just something you eyeball, or does it have to be slammed up tight? You know, this dragster here has got these 4 points for it to slip, and well, I feel like the motor is going to want to torque the back end of the car down, right? So it's going to want to drive this down into this rear end, and I feel like it needs some room to move. I don't know how much room, but I feel like it needs some room so it's not driving it into the back of the trans. So we gave it a little bit, and we'll test it. We'll see. And but motors in the car. We're gonna go ahead. We'll probably put the radiator in the car. I got to figure out a spot for the transcooler. Transcooler's got to go somewhere, and I got to find a good spot for it. I didn't really like where it was, so I'll see if I can find a new spot for it. If I got to put it up in the front of the car, or if I leave it back here. Not 100% sure yet on what I want to do or where I want to put it, but I had to have the motor and stuff in the car to figure some of that out, and I had to have the motor in the car to start wiring up some of the stuff, the gauges, getting all that stuff ran. You know, I didn't need the motor in the car to wire the shifter and stuff, but I wanted it in there anyway. I worked on that delay box for a little while the other day, and I'll show you what I did here. So these are our big wires coming out of our delay box. The bummer part about all that there, I found out, I called Digital Delay and I asked that guy over there, I said, hey, I got the Mega 450 box, I'm wiring it up, and I don't see no provisions to put a digital dial board on it. And he asked me about how old the box was. We talked. Anyhow, come to find out, you can't put a digital dial board off of that box. So through talking to that guy a little bit, they helped me out. And they sold me a new box, the Mega 475, which has the dial board stuff. Plus, it also has its own designated program and or terminal and all that for the starting line enhancer. So the box is actually a way better box than this box. Not that that box is a bad box by any means, but this one's a nicer box. It's got more options in it. The frickin' instruction book is thick, man. I mean, it's big, 3/4 of an inch thick. There's a lot of papers there to read, a lot of stuff to understand. But on the good side of things, it looks like the box is wired up exactly like that one there. So I will be able to reuse those pigtails that I had made for the new box, which is cool. I didn't want to have to take those all apart and, you know, waste it, you know, do different things. So anyways, we got that going for us. We are going to keep plugging along here, and we're gonna take a break, probably go get something to eat and stuff. You know, belly's getting hungry. But we're gonna keep plugging along throughout the day. I don't get to spend much time out here this last week or two, so it's kind of hard to make any progress on the car and or record any videos. You know, just life is just what happens, you know. But anyway, we're gonna keep moving along here. I just figured I'd show you guys, you know, what it looks like with the motor in here. It looks killer. So that'll wrap it up for our morning project here. Motor's in, trans is in, everything's bolted down solid, right where it's supposed to be, right where it needs to be. Thank you for coming back to Patent Performance Racing. We really appreciate it. If you guys could tell your buddies or share our webpage, share our YouTube page with your buddies, share a couple videos with your buddies. You know, if you got any questions or anything like that, you can always send me a comment, and you know, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you got. If you're having tuning issues with your carburetor, or issues with your distributor, or any of that good stuff, we went ahead, we locked out. We took a Pro Billet distributor that had mechanical advance mechanism stuff in there. We locked that out. It's ready to go for this motor. I didn't do a how-to video on how to lock them out. There's a lot of them out there. But if you need some advice or you got some questions on how to lock out a distributor, leave me a comment down below, and I can send you my email address, and you can email me, and I can even send you some pictures and stuff like that, a video if I need to, and show you how to lock out your own distributor. It's really quite simple. It'll only take you 20 minutes, and then you got guaranteed timing. You don't have to sit there and mess with the advanced bushings and weights and springs and stuff. But even if you need to know some of that stuff, I've done a lot of playing with MSD distributors over the years, so I can help point you into a direction on where the little timing bushing and everything is at, what springs to put on there for what kind of motor you got, with what type of cylinder heads and stuff, and give you a rough idea of where it should be and where the motor will be happy. But anyhow, thank you for tuning in to Patent Performance Racing. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.